Hi everyone, this is Anthony O'Flynn coming to you from Ubud in Bali, and late afternoon here, so it's cooling off a little bit, but the humidity is still really kicking in. And projection is the topic of this video. Projection is an interesting behaviour. It's an interesting perspective of how we're viewing reality, how we're viewing other people, and all the judgments, the criticisms and limitations that come around this idea of projection. It was really first formulated by Freud and then also developed further by Jung. And it's related with the shadow and as Jung described it, and the unconscious part of who we are. And this is significant because we're all doing projection from time to time, but the issue is what is it showing? What is it indicating to us of who we are? And moving away from this state of judgment and criticism of others, and turning this discrimination, this discerning opinion of what's really going on within. Because the idea of projection is that we're actually dealing with something that we're denying in ourselves, that we're unconscious, that's unconscious in ourselves, that we are unable to process or resolve issues in ourselves. So for example, a very greedy person will project and accuse other people of being greedy, or a very needy person will project and accuse other people of being needy. And this is significant because the judgments that people are passing on other people are actually more an indication of who they are than the actual person who's being judged. So this is showing up with people all the time, particularly in context of speech. Because if you're having a conversation with someone and they're just continually projecting, this person is arrogant, this person is this person is that, it's actually an indication of who they are in an unconscious way. And by definition, this is really what the shadow is, because the shadow is unconscious. And the transformation really comes when we were actually taking what is unconscious and making it conscious. And that's precisely where we take these disowned aspects of ourselves, these parts of us that we turn away from, that are shunned or kind of simply unconscious, and actually bathe them with light, bathe them with the consciousness of our being, so we become more whole, more complete, more integrated. And in this way we're able to deal with our own projections and see, hang on, this isn't about the other person, because it never really is. It's always about ourselves. Sure, there can be objective evaluations of others. I don't know, this person is a psychopath or a mass murderer or something like this, or some other really dysfunctional quality can be objective. But the issue is here is that how are we experiencing the world? Because how we are experiencing the world is really a reflection of how we're experiencing ourselves and actually who we are. So when we are projecting, it's simply an unconscious value, it's an unconscious aspect of ourselves that we're simply trying to disown and put this label on the other, of someone else, when it's really us who are having that quality. We're simply not able to integrate it. And really that's where the self-awareness comes from, that we're able to really turn the spotlight on ourselves and shine that torch into our own being and illuminate ourselves, so we can see that this is really our perspective. Because at the highest level of this unity consciousness, of this oneness, that we are all connected, we're all one. And this is not something we can consider from a philosophical level. What's important to understand from this point is that we're experiencing ourselves through another. And when we have this attitude, we can constantly see that what's showing up for us is a reflection, it's a mirror of us. And the important thing to do is not try to change the reflection, the mirror, the other, because it's not really the issue. To real work lies in changing ourselves, so we experience the reflection, the mirror, the other differently. And this is a key thing to understand, because then we're not unconsciously projecting, unconsciously judging, unconsciously labeling others. We're actually aware of our own places of darkness, our own suffering, our own impurities, our own issues. And this is the thing of becoming more conscious and becoming more evolved. And so if someone is consistently projecting this form of consciousness onto another, labeling everywhere they go, oh, this person is selfish, blah, blah, that person is selfish, it's a definite indication that the issue lies within. And this is something that is ongoing for people, and it really is a giveaway in their speech that they're the ones embodying that quality, they're the ones embodying that deficiency because of the continual projection. And it's something that really hasn't been spoken about a lot in the current conversation of awakening, because very often a lot of people are wanting to look at the various issues in society as being wrong, as being incorrect, as being not valid, as being not the future way of being. But it's actually an inner projection of their own anger, their own frustration, their own disappointment with the world, their own expectations not being met. And it's very easy to poke the finger at the government or, these like people in corporations or these people destroying the earth, all that. It's very easy. But what does it show about us? Because if we're sincere about trying to change these things, we should be focusing on the solution. 90% focus on the solution, 10% on the problem. And this means that this projection, in some cases with the various ills, the things that are going on with the world, is very easy just to say this is wrong, and people just kind of continually do this. But it brings with it an inherent form of negativity, especially if it's not backed up with any action to create positive change. Because in this way, it's just a projection of ongoing negativity. Oh, the job I have is wrong because of this. The people don't do this. My family members are like this. My work colleagues are like this. Whoever it is, this situation is wrong. The train should run on time. All these sort of things. It's actually a projection of our own negativity. And when we move on from that and actually start to really understand it's not actually a bad thing, we start to have this integration where we work with our own projections, with our limitations, what's going on inside. So then we are able to experience the mirror, the reflection, in a more happy way, in a more fulfilled way, in a more way that was more vibrant and alive, rather than the ongoing rejection of our experience, which is essentially part of the issue of projection. So the way to move forward with this is take ownership. If you're projecting or having these projections, you can see it, you have this aha moment, you have this moment of clarity, this moment of discernment, it's okay. Don't reject your experience, don't reject yourself, don't make yourself feel inferior or like you're wrong, you're like kind of all these sort of lower things with the inner critic. See that this is a sign, this is a pointer, this is an indication that we're wanting to embrace these deficiencies or embrace these projections, work with them and allow them to be there, not suppress them, push them away, ignore them, escape, numb out, whatever strategy perhaps you're working with, but take ownership of your projections. It's very powerful for illuminating the shadow, and this is an extremely powerful form of self-development, of evolution, is really to work with those limitations. Because when you start to have these breakthroughs, your evolution can go very quickly. When you actually start to have this clarity, this clearness, this crystallization of certain thought patterns, behaviors, moods, emotions, it's a much more empowered state to start to work with them. So don't disown your projections. Take everything on board to become more complete, more whole, and work with the completeness of your being and love the completeness of your being through the process, through the challenges, and through this experience of transformation that we are all going through. It's really part of the journey. So see it as a celebration, not a burden. Thanks for watching. Hope that was some use for you. If you're watching this, you are the shift.